So they say that truth is stranger than fiction, and I'm sure we all have those misconnections that somehow end up being the most improbable and implausible stories of our lives. There are those people that we hardly know or maybe only used to know that reappear in our lives under the most inexplicable circumstances, almost like invisible magnets that push us away and pull us together again. And to quote Insane Clown Posse, fucking magnets. How do they work? So is anyone here familiar with the video game Journey? All right, no one. This is going to be a tough sell in the beginning, so bear with me. Journey is not like a traditional video game. It's more like a psychedelic experience. It's like going on a vision quest. Only you don't have to be some privileged burner with the disposable income to travel down to the Amazon and pay a shaman to give you liquid ayahuasca while you trip balls, vomiting, pissing, and shitting yourself in the jungle. It's like that, but cheaper, safer, and cleaner. So in the game, you play as this cloaked androgynous figure modeled after ancient Aztec art. And you wake up alone in the desert, and the game gives you no instructions or directions, but there's this mountain in the distance. So it feels natural to travel towards that. And that's all the game is. You traveling alone in this desert, climbing a mountain, not knowing why, and then you die before you get to the top. There's no way to beat the game, you always die. So as a metaphor for life, it's not really subtle at all. But it's a really beautiful and cinematic and emotional experience. And one of the more important aspects of the gameplay is that it's online, so you'll come across other random players. And the game can feel oppressively lonely being out in that desert, so you'll want to travel with them, but you can't communicate through your headsets. So it's really difficult to collaborate with them, and it's easy to get lost and separated, so you'll play with multiple partners before reaching the end, just like life. And when you beat the game, it'll tell you the names and locations of everyone you played with. So when the game ends, it turns out that you met Jorg in Iceland, you played with Mohammed from Pakistan, you met Tong Tong from North China, and then you reflect on how life and death is this universal experience regardless of nationality. Yes, it's hippy-dippy, new age bullshit, but I'm a sucker for it. And I've played it, 5 or 50 times in the past few years, but I haven't been able to play it again since last year. The last time I played, my character woke up next to another player, which never happened before. And we went on the journey together, and we never got lost or separated. And we were able to solve these environmental puzzles together that can only be solved with a partner, which opened up new maps of the game world, making it like an entirely new game. And then, it feels pathetic, but I developed this kinship with this other player. They were anonymous. I didn't know their name. I didn't even know their gender, but I felt this longing and yearning for them. We were going through life together, solving these obstacles, knowing that we're going to die in the end. And when the game ended, I wept. And then the game told me the player's name and location, and I had the most extreme existential meltdown of my life. It was like a moment from a Murakami novel where a dam had fallen, and I was hit with this flood of memories that were locked away years ago, pushing me down a well that I had no idea how to climb back out of. The game told me that I had played with an Aiko K. Bella Rose from Tokyo, Japan. Now, I did a semester abroad in Japan 15 years ago, and it was there that, for the first and last time in my life, I fell in love. So yes, I'm a cliche. I'm another white guy that went to Asia and came back with an Asian girlfriend. But she was incredible and beautiful, and we had the type of Hollywood romance that just ruins people. I mean, don't fall in love abroad, because no OkCupid date's ever gonna live up to that afterwards. And I had to leave the country due to an overextended visa. She came here, she hated it. We were young and we were dumb and we were forced to break up before we were ready to break up, which really screwed us both up. I was emotionally unavailable for 7 years. I was obsessed with finding a way back to Japan to get her back. And I had an art gallery exhibition of paintings of her. I've written award-winning stories about our relationship. I'm over her now, all these years later, but I'm still scared that I'm going to be calling her name out on my deathbed, and her name is Aiko Kitagawa. And I haven't really talked to her in 12 years, but I did reach out to her back in 2011 when Japan was hit with that tsunami. And she responded, thanking me for my concern, telling me how my letter, really brought back both happy and painful memories. But now she was married, and her husband's name was John P. Pierre-Baptiste Bellerose. She just had to marry some French jerk-off with the most Frenchy French jerk-off last name possible. I mean, I just imagine this guy must be some like wannabe documentary filmmaker with rich parents who own like a famous bookshop in the hills of Versailles. And here this game just told me that I played with Aiko K. Bellerose, and her name is now Aiko K. Bellerose. And I had this experience, this powerful experience, longing for this anonymous video game character, and it turns out that in all probability, this was my ex-girlfriend from Japan 15 years ago. And here I had this experience where I could live like a 2-hour version of life with this woman who I used to want to live my life with, and it was a pretty huge mind fuck. And I know this sounds impossible. It has to be impossible. I've been tempted to reach out to her, but I almost don't want the mystery ruined. You know, I had this incredible misconnection that just should not have happened. Like a magnet, we were brought back together, and fucking magnets, how do they work? And I actually do know how they work. ICP doesn't. I'm not an idiot. Okay, thank you.